Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 131 of a year of change. Today we're going to, I just actually realized I was going to say it again. I notice almost every single day I go, today we're going to do something a little different. So, in exactly that voice as well. So I'm going to try to stop saying that because it's really annoying. Because it's annoying me, so I'm sure it's annoying you. So today we're going to do something that we were scheduled to do properly. And look at another study. This one is a little different because technically I'm doing two food videos back to back, but not really, but sort of, yes, not really there. Anyway, basically what this is a study that was done by William Patterson University in New Jersey, and it was looking at just sort of like the nutritional value of different fruits and vegetables and things like that. And I think what sort of prompted this was originally I was going to look at kale. Because everybody talks about kale. Everyone at work talks about kale. Everyone on YouTube talks about kale. Everyone at the grocery store talks about kale. So I thought, well, I'm going to go in and take a look and see exactly, how good it is. And as it turns out, it's good, but it's not a superfood like everyone thinks. So anyway, after a bunch of digging and looking around and stuff like that, I found that there was this study that was done fairly recently as well. And it was published in the CDC journal, so Center for Disease Control. Basically what they did, they took a whole slew of different fruits and vegetables and berries and everything else and said, okay, we need to take a look at the top, I think it's 14 or 17 nutrients that people need and look at the concentration in them and space it out over a 2,000 calorie diet. And if you had 100 grams of it, the density of these nutrients to find out which one is best. And kale didn't even place in the top 5. Or the top 10, actually. Didn't even place in the top 15. It was beaten out by chives and is slightly over dandelion greens. It actually ranked 16th overall out of all the different things that they tested. Now there's a list of 40 or 41, I think it's 41 different fruits and vegetables and berries and everything else. Way at the top was watercress, which has just jam-packed full of stuff, and then it goes to like beet greens, I think. Spinach is way up there, which is kind of nice. And then it just sort of goes down the list, but kale is fairly far down there. One really good thing, which made me very happy, was that grapefruit is at the bottom, because it tastes like vomit, and no one likes it except serial killers and people who talk in movie theaters. So, that made me a little bit happy, because at least I can say, okay, it's not as bad where I don't want to eat grapefruit, because it's disgusting. Anyway. So as I was going through the different things, the main reason why I was looking at the study was that, just the fact that everyone is constantly pushing kale all the time. Saying, oh, it's great, it has this and this and this, and it can make you fly, and it can fix, holes in aircrafts, and it wrestled a bear when it was 4, and it cures cancer, and all this other shit. And you're just thinking it's a vegetable. There's no way that it's going to be like this superfood. Which sort of led me to looking at other superfoods and everything else, and they really don't exist. Across the board, I mean, although watercress is way at the top, it's not something that you can say, oh, that's what I'm going to buy from now on, that's all I'm going to eat is just watercress. Oh, I could have said that 3 times really quickly, but anyway. So it's not a matter of looking at it and saying, okay, well, I can't eat kale anymore because it's shit. I'm not going to buy that. I'm going to buy watercress and nothing else. And then take the top list for everything. I think that, and the study sort of shows this as well, that it should really be a huge variety of stuff that we eat. And because there are some things that watercress is going to have that other vegetables won't, and then there are going to be things in berries that you need that watercress can't provide, and then there's going to be different stuff in fruits that the berries can't provide. So they do sort of say, in general, while out of these 40-odd foods, watercress does rank up at the top, it's not a matter of saying, well, that's all that you need to eat. Which kind of leads me to think that the grapefruit, they're saying, oh, you should still eat it, but it tastes like barf, and no one likes it, really. So, the main reason why I sort of wanted to bring this study in is just because you hear it all the time, there's always something new, and kale has been out there for a long, long time. Where people have been saying, oh, you can make smoothies with it, and you can do this and that, and, it walks on water, and everything is great. But in general, I've always been skeptical of anything that people say, oh, this is the new super magical thing that you can use, not just necessarily to lose weight, but just, oh, well, this is what's carrots, for example. When you were a kid, remember, and everyone said, "Oh, eat lots of carrots, you'll be able to see better in the dark." That's not true. We know that's not true. So it's like just those little things that still pop up every now and then when I'm just using Kale as a scapegoat, so we don't want to pick on Kale. Don't want all you Kale-ophiles. Yeah, it sounds okay. Doesn't sound creepy. Kale-ophiles out there, people who like Kale, to just say, no, it's the greatest thing in the world. It's very healthy. Don't get me wrong. This isn't a matter of saying, well, Kale is not healthy anymore, and the lower you go, then the worse it is. These are all very good for you, and you could eat every single one of them. It's just that when people sort of come to you and say, look, this is the brand new thing that you need to eat, because, and we see it online all the time as well, the number one thing you should never eat, or the number one thing you should eat, or the number one pill that's going to help you burn fat, or the number one exercise that will target your belly, which is, again, stupid. Your body doesn't work that way. So people tend to latch onto these things. And although it's much better that they're eating, something like that instead of a Twinkie, overall, we do need that variety. And this does sort of shed a little bit of light on that, saying, yes, these are the rankings. This is what basically how dense the nutrients are in it, things like that. But I was going to use a food metaphor here, so sorry, take it with a grain of salt. Don't just look at it and say, well, I can only ever really eat these 5 things because that's what's going to be the healthiest. There are things even further down on the list that have, more of one nutrient than the things at the top of the list. They did a very broad grouping of the different things like fiber and niacin, riboflavin and ferritin and a bunch of different vitamins and everything else. So they just sort of compacted all of those in there and said, okay, what has, overall, if we include all of these, I want to say it's 17, but I might be wrong. If we take all of these nutrients and all of these beneficial things and just put it into one group as a number, which is the most dense, and that's why they have this ranking system. But the overall idea is to say, have a variety of different things. There are going to be, a lot of these are green leafy things. So, obviously, we've known for a long time, vegetables are what we need. They're very good for us. Everything is great. You just pick and choose what you need. It's just that when you look at something and people say, oh no, Kale, it's the superfood. It's right below lettuce, for God's sake. 2 different kinds of lettuce, actually. So even just regular lettuce is more dense in nutrients that you need than Kale. So, and I know I keep picking on Kale, but it's just that you have it shoved down your throat all the time by everybody because they say, oh, you can make it into a smoothie and you can have it on your salad. Yes, it's fine. One other thing, too, that they did find, Kale chips. People say, oh, well, it's Kale chips, so it's better for you. Yeah, no, they're just chips. They're just potato chips. Or crisps, if you prefer. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing as someone saying, well, potato chips are bad. Yes, but potatoes are also sort of a vegetable. They're a root. But it's the same thing. They're still frying them. They're still putting loads of salt and sugar and seasoning and everything else on them. In the end, they're just chips. So, something to look at. Anyway, so, and this isn't to be smug and say, ah ha ha, I told you so, because the fat guy knows more than Kale people. But I guess the message I'm trying to send out is when you see something like this, go do research. Go take a look at it. And, not just to compare it against this one study, but this is the sort of thing that we need to do. When someone says, well, you should do this because it'll give you this benefit and you should do this, don't just say, great, that's what I'm going to do from now on. Go in, take a look. And I've said this before, even to stuff that I've told you. Go in, do your own research, and take a look at the benefits of it. Take a look at if there are side effects, if there are bad things that can go along with it. And if we're to be realistic with this, if it's something like, if they came out tomorrow and said, we've done extensive studies and across the board, grapefruit has 10 times the nutrients of any other food out there. You can sustain yourself solely on grapefruit and you will lose weight. We've shown that that's been proven. You can eat as much as you want. It doesn't matter. It's the miracle food out there. I still wouldn't eat it. So practically speaking, if we're to be realistic, also look at things that you know you're going to eat. Because if you're sitting and you've got a little bowl of whatever it is, I'm going to move away from kale because I feel like I'm picking on it. We'll say spinach. There we go, baby spinach. If you're sitting there eating baby spinach and you absolutely hate it, you're not going to stick with it. So spread things around. Get red peppers if you like those, or if you like carrots because you still think for some reason that it's going to give you X-ray vision, then eat those. Whatever it's going to take to, sort of improve our diet overall, that's what we need to do. And flavor does have a lot to do with it. And granted, a lot of green leafy things kind of taste the same. I can't really talk about kale in that respect because I've actually never tried it. I don't know if it's a matter of just not getting around to it or the fact that when people say, oh, you have to try it, it's a miracle thing. I'm like, you're not the boss of me. You're not my real mom. You don't tell me what to do. And then just not, going after it. Whatever this case is, I have never actually gotten around to trying it. But generally, I lost my train of thought already. I started grumbling and moping. See what happens? I start getting grumbly and then I just lose my train of thought. Anyway, I'm going to assume that I finished that thought completely and it was intact and everyone went, good point. So, variety. There we go. We'll just sort of move back to that. If it's something that you don't like the taste of, that's what I was talking about. There we go. Tasting. So if it's something that you don't like the taste of, like grapefruit, you're not going to eat it. You're not going to stick to what we're trying to do. And you're eventually going to fall off the wagon. So spread yourself around. Gather in as many different fruits and vegetables and berries and everything else that you can. Find out what you like. Find out what you don't like. I have a friend of mine that doesn't like cherries. She can't stand raspberries, which makes no sense to me at all because they're great. Any really sort of berry-y thing, like even grapes, which is not a berry, and it would be. No, yes, it would be. It would be a berry, wouldn't it? All right. Anyway, multiple seeds inside this. That's what the definition of a berry is. We talked about this before, like bananas. I think she likes bananas. Anyway, there are a lot of berries that she doesn't like. Kind of picky overall. I have gotten her to try a few things over the past few years, like yogurt. She's finally tried that. She enjoys that. And something else, which I can't remember. But anyway, so there are, you're not going to like everything. There are some people out there that, I absolutely love oranges. But there are some people out there that just can't stand them. Which is also a berry, now that I think about it. Because there's multiple seeds in it. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So, experiment with different things. That's a lot of the stuff that we've been doing with some of the food videos. Is just trying something new that we've never tried before. Some of the stuff has been okay. Some of the stuff has been really good. Some of the stuff, probably not going to buy again. But it's different. Some of you are going to really enjoy it. Some of you are going to hate it. And that's sort of part of this. Now, the list that they gave everybody, it's compiled of green leafy vegetables. And there are fruits and berries and a bunch of other stuff in there. And regular vegetables. I don't know what they're called. There's a term for it. There's green leafy vegetables. And then there are... I can't remember the term. Anyway, I think it starts with a V. It's this. There we go. That's what kind of vegetable it is. So I'll put a link down below of the actual study so you can take a look at it. There's also a brief interview with the associate professor who did the study. She published it in the Journal for the Center for Disease Control. She's an associate professor. She's an associate professor of sociology. Oh, man. I'm not going to try to say that again. Which kind of threw me off a little bit, but I'm sure she's qualified. So I haven't looked into that yet to find out about the nutrition, things like that. But it's simple numbers. She has admitted it's very simple. It's based on just the numbers of nutrients that are in, 100-gram serving and going from there. So when you go through there, the best way to probably look at this would be, this is sort of a listing of the top 40 different fruits and vegetables and berries that are going to give you the most bang for your buck. Not to cut any of them out, except grapefruit, because it sucks. But just to sort of take a look at the different variety of things that you can get that you're going to get the most out of. And there are going to be some in here that you may not like. Like broccoli's in there. Some people don't like broccoli. Cauliflower. I'm in there with the cauliflower group. It doesn't taste like anything. It doesn't even taste like cauliflower. So I've had 2 people, though, tell me to make a pizza crust of the cauliflower. So that might be a project for another day. But there are going to be some things in there that you don't like. There are going to be some things in there that you're already eating. So that should hopefully make you feel better. And there are going to be some other things in there that you're going to want to try. Everyone I know is going to go, oh, I'm going to go try watercress. I don't know if I've ever actually had it. I don't think I have. But I do want to try it to see if I like it because might as well. But there are a lot of things in there that, you're probably already eating. If you've started in on things like salad or even just throwing lettuce in, if you go to a restaurant somewhere and you make a wrap or a sub or something and you're filling it up with lettuce and vegetables at the end of it, even that, I mean, it's going to help. So every little bit helps. Anyway, the main thing that I was sort of wanted to get across during this video, and I don't know if I have, is if you ever look at something and someone says, oh, it's a superfood, it's going to be the next greatest thing in the world, it isn't. You can pretty much guarantee that it's not going to be that. So for whatever reason that people have sort of jumped on the bandwagon like they did with kale for the past couple of years, go in, take a look, do your research, and, I mean, honestly, see what works best for you. That aside from, nutrient value, which is always something good to look at, if it's something that you're not going to be able to sort of adapt into your regular diet without sort of turning your nose up all the time, then it's not going to work. That's why I don't eat cauliflower, and that's why I don't eat grapefruit. I'll try every few years, see if things have changed, but in general, they're not for me. Some of you are out there that absolutely love both of those. You're probably psychopaths. I don't know. But it's just one of those things that, for me, I'm not going to bother trying to sort of force it into my diet. My daily eating food thing, not like diet. So it's just because I know that I'm not going to want to eat that. And there's other stuff out there that is either going to be just as good or better that I can go in, I can replace it with that. Orange is ranked above grapefruit, so there we go. So I'm good there. So although, I mean, there are going to be a few things that you're going to see in that list that you're going to want to cut out because you just don't like them. There are going to be a few things in there maybe you haven't tried. You're going to try those new things. You might find some replacements. If you're one of these people that's on a kale kick right now, you might be able to go in, take a look, and say, oh, there are like 10 or 15, technically, 15 different things, that are a little bit better that, you can add those in. You don't have to get rid of kale, obviously, but variety, I guess, is probably the best practice. Because the more, variety that we have in our diet, the more we're going to be getting nutrients from various different sources. Redundant again. The more that we're going to be getting these from different sources, and it's going to make things a lot more interesting in the long run. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's what I have for you. So I'm going to put a link to the study down below. I'll put a link down to a quick little interview that William Patterson actually did with the professor as well. It's like 6 minutes long, just to sort of give you an overview of it. It's really, really dumbed down for us. So yay, thank you, William Patterson University. And there's another thing that I can't remember I was going to put down there. I think that's it, actually. I think it's because the link, the William Patterson site. That's the other one I was going to do. So I'll put the site up there so that you can take a quick look at the sort of overall summary of the study, and then I'll put a link to the study itself, and then the interview down there. So we have all sorts of information that we can go by. And plus, it has the list itself. So you can go in, grab that list, and take it with you in your next grocery shopping expedition and try a few different things, including kale. Let's be honest, we'll include kale in there because I feel like it's sort of picked on it. But I'm really picking on the people that are going, yeah, it's the best thing in the world. Which you shouldn't really do. You can do it. People have done it. Anyway, I'm babbling, so I'm going to stop this now. And we are slightly over again. It's okay, we're getting better. I will eventually get down to a point where I can finish things smoothly and cleanly and everything will be great. I'll have all the information out. And I'll say, oh, look, 15 minutes on the nose. It's never going to fucking happen. Anyway. That's it for this video, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me, and in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.